Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Stay with me as we expand our knowledge with videos from all over the internet that's going to make us question reality. Let's just start.
So I've been thinking about the soft wax phase of dating, which is when someone mentions their favorite album and you run to listen to it. They say they like some book and you read it in a week. And I'm calling it soft wax after this great passage in the book Husbands. It says, "The process of falling in love softens a personality like wax in a warm room. It doesn't last long, the time when love can gently change who you are." It's a very sweet notion that when you start dating, everything they care about, you care about too. Soft wax is often confined to the honeymoon phase, and we very much normalize that this fades and that the wax hardens the longer that you're together. And I think that's why there's so many divorces. At the beginning, maybe you read that book to flatter them, or you listened to the podcast so that you'd have something to talk about. And I think this sincere interest in your partner's life of mind is necessary forever, not just the honeymoon phase.
True.
You don't have to have the same interest and the same taste, but there should be
100%.
sustained effort to have interest in your other half. Something that touched me recently was I had to teach this Saturday morning 2-hour class on Zoom. My husband was basically acting as tech support because it's hard to admit people while you're teaching, and like there's the waiting room and then there's also questions, so he was bumping the ones that I had missed. And I already appreciated that he gave up half a Saturday to help me. After the class finished, he told me that he had ended up watching the whole thing even though he sort of intended to get work done during it. And I thought that was so sweet, and I was really touched, and I didn't even know that I wanted that. And I think it was so meaningful because he watched the whole 2 hours of me lecturing, like because it was interesting to him, and that was the only motivation. I'm saying about my book, To Have and Have More, is a satire about wealth, class, and privilege. The characters are too selfish to be soft wax at any point in their lives to anyone, and that's a different type of relationship. Two people, equally selfish, utterly uninterested in one another, it can work.
You're not going to want to hear this, but you need to. A financial education is your best form of protest. In a society and in a system that constantly disenfranchises you, having money, which really means having options, is the way that anybody gets ahead in life.
True.
Especially if you're a member of a marginalized group.
True.
Because having money means having those
100%.
choices, like the ability to leave unhealthy, unsafe situations, the ability to donate to causes you believe in or organizations you believe in, the ability to travel or to go to therapy or make sure that you have safe housing. This financial education is not about math. It's not about Excel spreadsheets. It's about understanding your own financial trauma, understanding your own mindset, and then working to change it. It's not about math. I majored in theater and communications in college, and now I'm a multimillionaire teaching other women how to become multimillionaires. It's not about math. Instead, money and the pursuit of money and understanding money is about having options and choices. And I'm here to guide you every step of the way.
Watch how crazy perspective is. So, I'm 30 years old, I'm single, I live at home. I just spent the last year like running around trying to figure out stuff, and I'm back at home. My job is hard. All my friends are getting married and engaged, and I'm not. Life just every day feels the same somehow, sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Or I am 30 years old, you guys, and I live at home because I just spent the last year traveling around and doing whatever I wanted, meeting so many people, having so much flexibility, and now I get to live at home and try and save to buy my own place and spend this quality time with my family that I'll never have again. And I haven't met my person yet, which is so cool because I still get to fall in love for the first time with someone new, and
That's interesting.
I will just love this person and they'll be so great for me because I've just chose not to settle, and that's so exciting. And my job is hard, but it's rewarding, and I'm so lucky to have like a remote job that's flexible and work with amazing people, and I believe in what we're doing. And I get to go to beautiful walks every day because I have a healthy body, and I have an amazing community where I live that I'm working really hard to build, and that's pretty cool, don't you think? Love you guys.
Yeah,
Bye.
it is.
No, because what if the reason why you're so naturally talented at so many different things, but you don't pursue anything to actualize it? What if it's not analysis paralysis and all that stuff? What if it's just that you've lived so many lives that your soul is no longer trying to pursue or prove anything? What if you're just here to be here at the right place, right time, to say exactly what you had to say in that moment, to have the right energy to your coworkers, acquaintances, family, whatever it is? What if that's just it? That's the reason why you don't feel this crazy drive to actually pursue anything, because you are the pursuit. It's you. You're just here to live. Like, you're kind of a big deal.
Most people, when they want to say no and they don't know how to say it, will try to become victim-y and say, I can't because of this, this, and this. I love this quote from Julius Caesar, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where his wife says, don't go to the Senate. I had a horrible nightmare. You're going to get stabbed. So the guy comes to get him and he says, go tell the council Caesar will not come. That I cannot is false. That I dare not, falser still. No, go tell the council Caesar will not come. There have been really good studies that show that to get out of depression, one study had control group, a group that had therapy, a group that had meds, and a group that did nothing but eliminate the words I can't and I have to from their responses. Instead, they had to say, I choose not to, I choose to, I will, I won't. And they came out of their depression faster than any of the other groups. Every verbal thing we say that is not true hurts our bodies, hurts our psyches, and leads us to anxiety and depression.
So my therapist taught me that there is this chemical in a man's brain called vasopressin. And basically, vasopressin is that chemical that once increased will give your husband like the need to like desire you and want to be, you know, intimate with you, right? So I was telling my therapist that, you know, the whole femininity thing, and I realized that a part of that is I struggle with accepting compliments from my husband. So we're on the phone, he's at the store and he's picking up barbecue sauce, and we always get like honey barbecue sauce, right? So he got one that said like sweet brown barbecue sauce. So he says to me, oh babe, you my sweet brown honey or something like that. You're my sweet brown sugar, right? And I was like, well, I better be. And usually when my husband gives me a compliment, I'm like, I say thanks, but I'm really shy. Like, I'm always shying away. So it's either I'm shying away from accepting it, or I'm just like, okay, well, I better be. So he says to me, like, see, women want compliments and this is how y'all respond. And of course I'm laughing it off, but in my mind I'm like, you know what, you're so right. I don't know how to receive a compliment from anyone, let alone my husband. And my therapist explained that by me responding the way that I did, like, oh, I better be, what it does is it doesn't allow that vasopressin in my husband's brain to increase, allowing him to like desire me. And that's what the world knows or calls it as like the man likes to chase. That's the chemical, y'all. That is why it's so important that we are also feminine in our responses and things, because it increases that vasopressin. So talking to my therapist, you know, she's breaking things down for me, and she basically said that we are supposed to accept compliments knowing that we are a child of God. And the way that I understood it was like, if God gave you a compliment and said, hey, I think you are beautiful and amazing, would you tell God, no, I'm not? Would you tell God, oh, I better be? Probably not, right? And of course, we also got into the whole topic that growing up, I didn't really receive a lot of compliments, and that plays a part. But adding God into it and remembering that you are a child of God and being able to accept things as a child of God really did change the way that I see compliments.
That's the thing most people fail to realize. It don't matter if you don't know what they're physically doing. Your spirit is always going to tell you what somebody's doing, if they're lying, if they're cheating, if they're stealing from you. Your spirit is going to reveal that if you just listen to it and stop letting your feelings and emotions override what your spiritual nature is telling your physical nature. You don't have to be visibly with somebody that you're dealing with on that level of closeness to know what they're doing. You're going to know. You're going to know through the body language, through the conversation, the way they respond, the way they act towards you. Like, all that are tells. Y'all have to start paying attention. People aren't that sneaky that they can get away with things like that, especially if you're intimate with them. If you're that intimate with somebody, like, let's be for real, you're exchanging spiritual energy when you're having certain deep conversations, when you have intimacy with someone, when you allow yourself to open up to someone. And once someone opens up to you and you open up to them, if they are actually in tune with their spirit and not just emotionally reacting to everything, they'll understand what's going on with you. Y'all ain't that slick, man. Come on now. Let's be for real. You can't hide from the spirit. You can't hide from the spirit. Even God knew where Adam and Eve were and what they did. He was just trying to see if they was going to be real about it. And half of y'all act just like that. Y'all can't be real about it. Y'all don't come forward. Y'all don't be real about y'all intentions because you're trying to use and misuse people. Stop that BS.
If there is one thing that you need to do before this year ends, it's an envisioning dinner. Now, what is an envisioning dinner? An envisioning dinner is where you make a reservation for one at a special place that feels elevated and inspiring. Take the time to get dressed up really nice because you're going to be honoring yourself and the vision that you are creating. Now, during this dinner, you're going to envision that you are sitting across from the person that you want to be 365 days from now. Bring a pen and a paper and write down who this person is in as much detail as possible. How does this person carry themselves? What do they prioritize? How do they dress? Where do they live? What What do they value most in life? How do they show up for others? What habits do they have to nurture their mind, body, and spirit? How do they handle and overcome difficult moments? What type of energy are they bringing into this world? What goals have they accomplished in the last year, both personally and professionally? Now, this dinner's not a time of, oh, if you can dream it, you can do it. It is so much more than that. This is your time to actually uninterruptedly carve out who do you want to be and get them from your imagination to reality. And let me tell you, there is nothing that will make you feel more empowered than going to a nice dinner by yourself. I do this envisioning dinner as a celebration to conclude my annual personal retreat. The envisioning dinner is just one part of the whole retreat process. And if you're looking for something that's going to help you step into the new year with more confidence and clarity, I created a guide that gives you a step-by-step process and all the information you need to conduct this personal retreat. This is something I've done every year for the last 4 years, and it's completely changed my life. You owe it to yourself to take this time for you.
I'm sorry, but can someone please tell me what's going on? Like, what is happening?
Hi, welcome to the Hypernormalization Club. I'm so sorry that you're here. So hypernormalization was a term that was coined by a professor of anthropology named Alexei Yurchak, who wrote a book back in 2006 called Everything Was Forever Until It Was No More, The Last Soviet Generation. And basically he was describing the paradox of life in the Soviet Union during the 1970s and the 1980s, where he says everyone knew the system was failing, but no one could imagine any alternative to the status quo. So politicians and citizens alike were resigned to maintaining the pretense of a functioning society. Now, this term was also picked up and used by Adam Curtis, who is a filmmaker. He created a documentary called Hypernormalization in 2016, where he argued that the economic crises in the 1970s in the West, basically governments, finance experts, and technological utopians gave up on trying to shape the complex real world. This is from Wikipedia, and instead established a simpler fake world for the benefit of multinational corporations that is kept stable by neoliberal governments. You can actually see the entire documentary on YouTube. But what you are feeling is hypernormalization. What you are feeling is the disconnect between seeing that systems are failing, that things aren't working, that structures are crumbling, that society is going through these massive shifts, and yet the institutions and the people that are in power just are like ignoring it and are pretending like everything is going to go on the way that it has. And we all know that that's not true. So you are feeling the discomfort between what you know to be true and how you're seeing people react to it. And so your vibes are not off, your instincts are not off. There's a term for it. It's called hypernormalization. You're welcome.
A scary phenomenon is occurring where whenever meaning tries to enter into a person's life, it gets crushed and belittled. Listen to this. Many of the things that once gave the average person's life real meaning are now treated with sarcasm and contempt. College is a waste of money. Work is a waste of your life. Getting married is just a piece of paper. Having kids is a nightmare. Family is a burden. Hobbies are merely quaint. Earnestly expressing yourself is cringe. Leaving the house is exhausting. Religion is for idiots. The list goes on. If you allow yourself to internalize this perspective, eventually everything becomes a dumb joke. That was Catherine Shannon. Of course, anyone who tries to avoid meaning only distracts themselves for so long in pleasure or chasing money until they have to face themselves and the void that they've created. The question becomes, where do you go to find optimism in the world now? We all know the feeling when you walk into a class for the first time, or a job, or a chess club. And you can tell right away whether the people are kind of just there or, wow, these people care. These people actually believe in something. Last year, a good friend of mine left LA because he felt it had no real culture, that the people were shallow. I strongly disagree. I mean, yes, certain cities absolutely have more culture and better values than other cities, but you don't create meaning with cities. You create meaning with people and yourself. True. And you can find enchanted people everywhere, and you need to hold on to them and grow a community around them. You need to actually stick with a cause and a people for longer than one weekend. When you're just numb or ironic to everything, it protects you from being hurt, but you'll also never find or bring meaning into the world.
And we've come to the end of the video. Amazing videos, good information to educate us as we move forward in life. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something good and new from this videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios, amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.